Hi, my name is Alejandro Pérez Pérez, and this is the AI Coffee Podcast. Every week, you will have one disruptive aspect of technology and artificial intelligence for the time to drink a cup of coffee. Today, we are going to talk about a very, very interesting topic for you. Can AI detect AI? What do you think? Do you think AI can detect other AIs? Do you think if there is a way to avoid AI detectors just by doing specific tips and a little bit good prompting? If you are interested about that, please continue until the end because this episode is going to be really, really valuable for you. So the first question is, can AI detect AI? The answer is yes. AI can detect others by other text, other photos, other videos made by AI. But is it simple? Is it easy? Can AI detect always another AI text or another AI generated video or image? The truth is that it's not easy. It's not easy, and there is specific tricks and tips you can do to avoid these detectors. So by the beginning, I would be interested on explaining to you how AI works. And while I'm talking about AI, I will talk about generative AI, and more specifically, I will focus on NLP models, text models, such as the GPT models that, for example, are very used in Chat GPT or other similar, like specific applications that works with texts, because for me are the most simple ways to start thinking about that. And then if you are curious, we can create another video talking about, is it possible to create deep face without being detected? Maybe this is a more difficult thing, but let's start focusing on text, because texts are the most simple way to use AI. Most of you might have already used ChatGPT, and most of you have been maybe thinking, am I detectable by using ChatGPT? So let's talk about how it works. Okay, so maybe you have already known, and I will explain it really simply for most of you. ChatGPT or these models work the way that they try to predict the next word, the consecutive word, the next one after the one you are writing. So you might have heard, and maybe you have tried years before ChatGPT appeared in maybe your mobile phones, while you were creating a mail, for example, that sometimes there are like things behind in your computer, on your mobile phone, working the way that they propose you another word or at the end of the sentence, right? So ChatGPT works more or less that way. It knows a lot about how we write, how we read, how we summarize, how we translate. It knows a lot about that. And what it does, it takes a word and it takes the next word that is more probable to be used in this specific context. So by knowing that, it might be easy to understand and to think that it's very simple to try to replicate this specific model. And if I am using a ChatGPT detector, I only need to ask ChatGPT to write the same sentence by, for example, using the first words of the sentence and trying to think if the rest of the sentence is written the same way as your text. Or what I'm saying the same way could be really something really similar, right? So if it's really similar, I would say yes, you are using ChatGPT for that, because it could be done that maybe one sentence of your paragraph, even one paragraph of your text, is mostly done or conceived similar to the ChatGPT logic behind. But it's very, very improbable that all your text, all your essay, everything written on your essay or your text or your email is written the same way as ChatGPT would do. So this is more or less how it works. So can we avoid it? Can we avoid to use this? So the answer also is yes, but it's not easy. You need to apply small tips I will tell you about. And little by little, you can build your prompts a little bit differently so that you are not given, let's say, ordinary answers, ordinary text, the most probable text that ChatGPT would write, but others that are less possible to be detected. And also, a small disclaimer is that it's almost impossible to hide that you are using ChatGPT like forever and for everyone. But you can at least decrease the probability to be detected. So if you are, for example, writing LinkedIn posts or aids for your website and you don't want to be ranked from Google because of detectors of AI, things like that, maybe it could work. But if you are working on a specific scientific paper or an essay for something really, let's say, high level, maybe it's not going to work because maybe at the end of the process there is like super powerful detectors that are going to detect you anyway. But still, I will explain you how to avoid or to have less probability to be detected. So the first thing is that you must ask ChatGPT in the prompt or other AI models, you need to ask them, please write as a human, write irregularly, write sentences that could be longer, shorter, write paragraphs not the same size, and please be natural. This works a bit. Usually it's not enough, but already while you are asking ChatGPT to be natural, to write as a human, to write sentences, irregular sentences, such as, for example, one sentence is a sentence of 10 words, another one of 20, another one of 2. It's more human. But because if you have already tried a lot of time ChatGPT and AIs, sometimes everything is really standard and structured and regular. So by doing that, you are starting avoiding to have this structure. So the second thing, and this is very powerful, you need to ask the ChatGPT or the AI to implement two specific concepts. So I will write them because they are not easy. But one is you need to ask ChatGPT to increase the burstiness, which in Spanish for the Spanish audience is estallido, and also the perplexity, which in Spanish it means predictibilidad. So these two concepts apparently they work really well because they are something related to the way we write, the way the paragraphs are structured, and apparently by asking ChatGPT to increase these two concepts by a lot, it works well, and usually everything is less detected. So you need to do that. And also you can do another thing. And the third thing for me, it's the most powerful one, because by doing these first two, you already might have a good paragraph, a good text that maybe is undetectable or less probable to be detected, but you can do a third one, which it works perfectly. And the third one is just change a couple of words. As I mentioned before, if you have a text and correlation of every two words, the most probable one for ChatGPT, you are going to be detected, even though we are using these techniques. So why not to have the full text? Maybe you have, I don't know, 2 pages of text. Why not to change to 1 or 2 words as another synonym or something similar in every paragraph? By doing that, you are hacking the system. and maybe you are saying to these detectors that you are not using ChatGPT. So it works well. It usually works well. And this is like the best one. Okay. And last but not least, what I would like to talk about is ethics. Do you think it's ethical to use ChatGPT for everything, for all your texts, all your reports, or your essays you are working maybe in university or wherever you are? Is it ethical to use it? So we are adults. Of course, we could potentially use for everything. But that's a small reminder. ChatGPT is completely stupid. And what it's even worse is that ChatGPT writes everything as it knows everything, but it doesn't. It doesn't. It's very stupid, and I really recommend you to try to test it. Maybe you are an expert of one domain. I don't know, in law, politics, in economics, whatever you are. Try to try to ChatGPT about the specific points on your field or domain, and you might know you will see that ChatGPT is a little bit stupid. So maybe it would work really well, and these techniques will work really well for this specific paperwork, bureaucracy, things that you are writing maybe on your daily life that goes to nowhere. You can directly use it, and come on, let's go for it. No human, no one is going to read these kind of things sometimes. So for all that stuff, I would say yes, fully agree. Let's use it. But when you need to write something that is the core of your business, the core of your study, the core of your field, be really aware that you're going to have a lot of mistakes. And also, maybe it's not so ethical to use it because you are not the person behind. There is like a machine working for you. So what I recommend you to do is you can use it as a draft. We can work, as I mentioned before, in a basis of a document using Chat GPT. You can even rewrite something you already wrote. That's something it usually works really well because you can create a document, for example, and you can ask Chat GPT or another model to rewrite it to feel more professional. Even, for example, in my case, I'm not my English is good enough maybe, but I will, let me think about that. Let me know about your thoughts. But it's not my mother language, so sometimes I make mistakes. So if I am writing a report in English about a project I did or something similar, usually I write everything before and then I ask ChatGPT for a correction or for giving me, let's say, another way to express the paragraphs, the text I was creating, because maybe they didn't look real natural, because my way of thinking as a Spanish speaker is a little bit different. And yeah, maybe it's a good way to use ChatGPT. So, but when we talk about ethics, of course, ethics are a very personal thing. So I recommend you to think about that and to think what use you can do it. But yeah, I didn't want to finish before saying so because I guess it's very, very interesting. And also, if you want to test your ChatGPT text or AI created test and other AI detectors, there are plenty on Google or internet. You can search for them. I usually use one. It's called ChatGPT 0 or GPT 0, something like that. There are plenty of them. Of course, they didn't pay me. It's one tool I use, and it's easy because it's free. You can directly upload the text over there and try it. And you will see that by using these detectors, it will be given a probability that this text is made by human or AI. Usually it fits around 80, 70, 90% of AI likely written. I assume that everything is written by AI. And if it's around 10, 15, 20%, 30 even, I assume that sometimes maybe these detectors don't work well, or maybe there is this kind of coincidence I told you at the beginning that maybe one paragraph it's written as it was written by ChatGPT or very similar, but it was written by you as a human, and it was just a coincidence. What is nice is that you can have a small approach for your texts, and if you really are in a hurry, because I can understand you that sometimes you could be in a hurry and you need to work something with ChatGPT quickly, and you use these prompts I told you at the beginning, and you want to try to think, okay, am I detectable? At least there's like this kind of tools. You can have a first approach, and you will see that if you use these techniques, the more you use them, the less score you are going to have on these platforms. I mean, the less probability that these detectors detect you that you were cheating, let's say, by using ChatGPT. So with that, I finished this video, this message, this episode. I'm really happy doing these small episodes as well, not only interviews, but I'm very curious about what do you think about that. On Spotify, you can write comments. It's free. I would really appreciate to have your feedback if you liked it, if you have other topics that you are curious about. And also, if you are on other platforms such as YouTube, for example, you can comment on the video. Also, you can subscribe. This is really, really helpful for me. It's very demanding to do a podcast and to be here in front of you, in front of a camera, and creating all these materials that are for free. So please, it would really help me to have your subscription. And if you could share it with a friend or a relative or a colleague, of course, that would be really, really nice. With that, I finish. Thank you very much for being here one more week. Let's talk in the next week, in the next episode, about a very, very interesting topic about AI and technology. Bye-bye.